チャンピオンシップ2017 in ジャパン。大変お待たせいたしました。まもなく熱きデュエリストたちの戦いの幕が切って落とされようとしています。皆さん準備はいいですか？皆さん準備はいいですか？それではまずは皆さんのウォーミングアップからスタートしましょう。応援タイムスタート。
皆さんこんにちは。盛り上がってますか？さあ間もなくスタートです。この後一緒に応援練習をして会場をさらに盛り上げていきましょう。盛り上げていきましょう。さあそれではウォーミングアップ皆さんでしていきましょう。まずはこれから入る選手のためにこの会場皆さんの声で温めましょう。声援をお願いします。お願いします。
遊戯王ワールドチャンピオンシップ2017決勝出場選手を紹介します。
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the finalists of Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship 2017!
第1試合遊戯王ワールドチャンピオンシップ2017ドラゴンデュエルブルーサイドブラジル代表ラファエル・ハイシ
The first match on the blue side from Brazil, Rafael Haisi!
第1試合遊戯王ワールドチャンピオンシップ2017ドラゴンデュエルレッドサイドカナダ代表ライアン・ユー
On the red side from Canada, Ryan Yu!
第2試合遊戯王ワールドチャンピオンシップ2017デュエルリンクスブルーサイドスウェーデン代表タップアップ
The second match on the blue side from Sweden, Chop Up!
第2試合遊戯王ワールドチャンピオンシップ2017デュエルリンクスレッドサイドニュージーランド代表 TV
On the red side from New Zealand, Jimmy!
第3試合遊戯王ワールドチャンピオンシップ2017ブルーサイド日本代表辻村良介
The third match on the blue corner from Japan, Ryosuke Tsujimura!
第3試合遊戯王ワールドチャンピオンシップ2017レッドサイドシンガポール代表ミルトン・チュア
On the red side from Singapore, Nelson Chua!
以上3部門6名のファイナリストによる世界大会決勝戦ただいまより開幕いたします。
Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship 2017! It's time to Duel!
Everybody, welcome back to the 2017 World Championship.
If you couldn't tell, there's a ton of excitement in the room right now.
It's a madhouse in here. You can just hear it and see it in everybody's voices.
It's a tournament unlike any other.
It really is. Started things off with a amazing rendition of Passionate Duelist from the original series.
Loved it.
Shamisen and the DJ. It was fantastic. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I think that really sets the mood for what we're about to see down here tonight. So we've got three, not one, not two, but three final matches for you to decide who will be the world championship here in Tokyo. And we're going to be starting things off on the Dragon Duel side.
That's right. We have Ryan Yu dueling against Rafael H. You got here with a rather unconventional deck. The chain burn deck that we saw earlier when we featured the Dragon Duelist, where we saw him use Balancing Judgment for 7 cards.
It was pretty fantastic.
It was definitely one of the highlights of the weekend.
And we'll see if we can replicate it again here. A really fantastic choice, really, the burn deck. Although his opponent famously said beforehand, I'm not worried about burn.
He did. He scoffed at the fact that Yu is running a burn deck, We will see if he regrets those words or if he crushes you as easily as he predicts.
Now, I think part of it's going to depend on whether or not Ryan Yu knows about it. If he knows, he's going to be really motivated to win.
I would imagine so.
So, we're still a few minutes away. We got a little bit more action going on.
So what we didn't see you use is Dice Jar in his previous feature match. And as one of the most interesting cards in his deck, I am hoping it makes an appearance.
Oh, that's us.
そして遊戯王声優界のデュエリスト坂巻学さん、はい、
Hello.
また MC の高野浩平さん、そして e スポーツゲストの江尻さんにお越しいただいております。さあちょっとですね。
I love the excitement in this room. Makes it a little hard to commentate over, but yeah, it is amazing.
You can't see it from our perspective, but we've got essentially an entire cheering section up above us.
It's true.
With these things, and everybody's going mad, and it's really a wonder to watch.
I've never seen a tournament like this in the United States. And let me tell you, I love it.
The only thing that could make it more crazy is if we can see a game actually finish off with Dice Jar. So Dice Jar is this kind of famous card back in the Chain Burn days where it would pretty much completely randomize the outcome of a duel. Both you and your opponent roll a die when it flips. Whoever has the higher roll wins the roll and will inflict damage to their opponent equal to 500 times the roll. In the case that the roll is a 6, however, tell what happens.
6,000 points of damage is inflicted to your opponent unless your opponent also rolled a 6.
In that case, you just keep going until somebody gets it. So will we see that? I mean, it's a one-off. It's not necessarily a thing that's going to happen.
I heard he does side deck it out a lot also, so if we don't see it in the first duel, we might not see it at all.
And that's actually part of the strategy of the whole card, is that it's in there for game one in the case that you lose the die roll or get an unfavorable matchup, and you just need something in there that can give you a chance to just steal a game.
So you lose the die roll, you make up for your luck with Dice Jar.
Exactly. It all comes in waves, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like we're going to start bringing our players to the stage momentarily.
The energy in this room is amazing. Amazing.
Oh, so after we forgot to talk about Rafael. So Rafael made it all the way here with a combination of pretty much a bunch of different good decks.
Yeah, his deck is also unlike any other.
He's got Kaijus, he's got True Dracos, he's got Alistair the Invoker and the Invoke monsters. There's just all sorts of stuff in there. He just packed every good card he could find in there.
I think
it all fits in 42 cards even with all that stuff.
I think he's the only duelist actually using Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, which is limited to 1 for this tournament.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the reasons why you're not going to see a whole lot of it. But he's got it, and it's taken him all the way to the finals so far. How much did the Kaijus really help in a matchup against Burn?
Probably not a lot. It can get rid of the Time Lord, but
now the Time Lord's already done its damage. You had to draw.
Yeah, that's true.
On the field.
You can preserve your graveyard. Right?
Magician of Faith.
You can preserve your graveyard though, if necessary, which could be valuable.
And I do like how, like we saw yesterday, Magician of Faith getting back Card of Demise after playing Card of Demise. That was pretty fantastic. So I guess we can get rid of Magician of Faith as well.
That's true. Dice Jar.
Dice Jar. But what you got to watch out for is if you hit Backjack, because then you give your opponent an actual monster that they could do something useful with, in addition to sending Backjack to the graveyard, letting you rearrange the cards and dig even deeper for stuff like, say, the devastating Ojama Trio. That was the catalyst for Balance for 7.
Yes, it also enhanced the Just Desserts and the Secret Barrels. So Ojama Trio in yesterday's feature was a huge impact card that is likely to repeat its power in this feature match.
It is highly likely. So why do we think that H is not afraid of Burn? What in here makes you think, you know, Burn's not so big a deal?
That is a great question, and to be honest, I don't know.
That's a valid answer, because honestly, I'm not seeing it either.
Yeah, I don't see anything that's particularly powerful against Burn other than maybe Ash Blossoming Joyous Spring, which he does play 3 copies of.
It's good against everything.
Yeah, but it's especially good against Burn, which runs a lot of cards that draw cards and that have a high impact when drawing cards, like Card of Demise to draw 3 cards, or Balance of Judgment to draw 7 cards. And being able to stop that is incredible. So that's certainly one thing. Other than that, I really don't know.
I am Rafael Reich. I have 13 years and I am from São Paulo, Brasil. Eu tive dificuldade em mais alguns. Eu tive dificuldades em alguns duelos, mas na maioria eu acho que o meu meta-call foi muito correto e eu consegui acertar o que eu ia jogar contra, o que me favoreceu muito nas partidas. FDN, fama!
I'm Ryan Yu, I'm 12 years old and I'm from Toronto. This might not sound the most professional, but it's highly luck-based. Honestly, I think it's already great to be on day 2. I hope I can win, but I'm not sure. I don't really have a plan, just go with whatever happens.
On the blue side, from Brazil, Rafael Heising. On the red side, from Canada, Ryan Yu. Yu-Gi-Oh! ワールドチャンピオンシップ2017ドラゴンデュエル決勝戦。いよいよ小学生の部世界チャンピオンを決める戦いが始まります。
The conditions are very harsh here in Tokyo. The heat is incredible. The humidity makes it feel like you're breathing water. And that really has a chance to take a toll on your cards.
And the room is packed.
Yeah, the room is packed, and that's not really helping either. So, it's been really a battle to keep everybody's cards in pristine condition as they played throughout the tournament. And just being able to find the replacements and keep it going has been a challenge in and of itself, in addition to being able to actually play your matches. So it's been kind of a test of endurance, not just for body and mind, but for your tools of the trade as well.
But everyone made it out alive, and we are here with the finals competitors for each division.
So we heard that Ryan Yu doesn't really have a plan, but do you believe that?
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that for a second.
I don't think someone without a plan would make it to the finals like he did.
And I don't believe him when he says it's highly luck-based as well.
He played very skillfully, so I think
really did.
He might just be a little modest.
It's like, okay, it's luck that you eventually get to your draw cards, but the skill part of it is making sure that you know how to stay alive long enough. Remember, in his last feature match, Ryan Yu was at just such a massive disadvantage that everybody was thinking, there's no way he's going to pull this one out. But he was able to manipulate his cards correctly. He made some good choices with Absolute King backcheck, rearranging them to get threatening for to stay in the game further. And the knowledge he got there let him figure out how to proceed just to stay in there long enough to get to a bigger impact card like Balance of Judgment, and later to the second Balance of Judgment, which was the one that caused all the final damage.
Yes. It's not an easy deck to play. It's pretty hard to pilot, and even the slightest mistake can have a huge impact on the outcome of the duel.
And like we said yesterday, that's another reason why Burn is often the deck that cried wolf. A lot of people say they're going to play it, but when they finally sit down and say, all right, I'm going to learn Burn, they give up very quickly. Things like knowing which order to chain your cards, when it's okay to just burn something off for damage and open up a zone without having a further plan for it. How many monsters do you even play? Do you even try to interact with the other player's deck in a way that a regular deck would?
That's an interesting question. Most decks, burn decks, opt not to. And Yu's deck has very limited interaction.
But indeed, it has some, like Lazy on the time board, for example.
Yes, interacts when your opponent draws a card.
And it also interacts to get rid of the fuel for Masterpiece.
That's right.
Case. A Masterpiece could start picking off your cards before you can even play them.
Haste does use Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse. Those are cards that might interact well with Lazion.
Yep. But that's just one card out of the deck.
That's true. That is true. For the most part, his cards don't interact well. And the Chain Burn decks like Yu's really thrives on that. That's the reason to play it. It's because you anticipate your opponents are going to build decks that are optimized to beat what they anticipate to be popular in the tournament. As we talked about all weekend, Dinosaurs and True Draco proved to be the dominant forces in both the Dragon Duels as well as the main tournament. And most duelists built their decks with tech cards that defeat them, or at least attempt to defeat them. When you're paired up against a burn deck, your cards usually don't line up as well. So where Haste gets his confidence against burn,
I'm still thinking about it.
I don't know.
It could be. Now, I've been looking through his extra deck, for example. He's playing the invoked version of this deck, which means he's got all the invoked monsters. Mechaba could be pretty good here, for example.
That's true. Trading a card for an opponent's card can be really good if your opponent's card either inflicts finishing damage or a lot of damage that it will get you to a critically low life point level, or just cards that would draw your opponent cards.
But the thing that really interests me is that, so normally you have Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring in your deck, or Ghost Ogre and Snow Wrap. You're just using them for their monster effects. But I noticed just now that he's got a copy of Black Rose Dragon in his deck, that he could combine either of those tuners with Alistair to blast the entire field wide open, and then because it would have to have combined with Alistair, he would have Invocation for a follow-up play.
That's good. However, a lot of the cards in the Chain Burn deck are chainable.
Right. But even in that case, they're all off the field. So
that is true.
As long as the burn damage isn't enough to take you out right there, and your opponent doesn't have enough draw cards among those cards, you could give yourself an opportunity and land a Mechaba on the field afterwards.
Yes, and I agree. I think Mechaba is one of the stronger cards in this matchup, just for its continued ability to negate your opponent's cards, especially when each of those cards is so valuable because the deck depletes its hand and field so quickly.
One of the things I really like about Mechaba and the True Draco variants in particular is that the smaller True Dracos, Dynamite Knight and Ignis Heat, they actually give you the choice of whether or not you want to add the cards to your hand or put them on the field. So if you have a case where you've got Mechaba out and also Dynamite Knight or Ignis Heat and your opponent activates an effect, you can actually take that spell and put it in your hand and make sure that you have a card in hand to send to the graveyard for Mechaba's effect afterwards.
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting interaction that I've never seen a duelist take advantage of by combining those monsters.
Now, I haven't actually seen it in practice, but in theory, like preparing for this event, that's the sort of thing that actually came up just a few times.
Yeah.
But just a few times is enough to learn that your deck can do that, just in case the scenario comes up. And you can get into a lot of scenarios where you might not know that something is possible. So you need to spend a lot of time studying with your deck. And if you take a look, we've got comments from a lot of the players beforehand about what are the things that you think an aspiring duelist can use to improve their game. And Rafael says, here's my tip. You need to practice a lot and study the different decks. And he's absolutely right. You really, really do need to do that.
Very good advice.
So, some of Ryan Yu's previous accomplishments include, of course, the Dragon Duel Championship in North America, and he also did pretty well at YCS Toronto back in 2015. And that was his first event as well, so having a high finish there, if your first event is a pretty great start to your career, and now 2 years later, he's made it to the World Championship. So he really moved up in the world in just a few short years.
He's already at the top, and he's actually one match away from becoming the world champion.
And it looks like he's getting ready to start that match right now. We are shuffling up for Duel 1 of the finals of the Dragon Duel World Championship. Rafael, he also started back in 2015. He tells us that his most memorable event was the Dragon Duel Championship back at OYCS in 2015. And he says it's the hardest event that he's ever played at. And I wonder if that's still going to be the case when this event is over.
I highly doubt it. I suspect that the World Championship will be a little more challenging.
A little bit more difficult, but he did manage to run his way through the Swiss rounds with remarkable efficiency.
He did, and that's why he's here.
One thing that we talk about is how people actually start playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For a lot of people, it's the TV show. For me, and for you, and for a whole lot of people, it's the original series. But Rafael, he started with the GX.
Wow.
So we regularly poll to see what the most popular TV series are from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise. And the original series, it's always up there at the top of the list. But right behind it, it's always GX. And it's really amazing. Because when I first saw GX, I didn't really warm up to Jaden. I think because I was a teenager at that point. I was a little jaded at the moment, too jaded for Jaden. But as I've grown up, I like Jaden now. He's all right.
Jaden is all right.
He's an all right guy.
And duelists tend to like elemental heroes as well, so it's nice that his iconic monsters are also popular.
Heroes have always been pretty popular. I don't really expect they'll ever stop. All right, looks like we've got our matchup just about ready here. We have our opening dice roll. And we'll get the official countdown in just a moment.
Here we go.
It's time to duel, and Ryan Yu wastes no time at all, setting his entire hand and passing the turn.
I think that was to be expected.
Terraforming comes down first for Aish. And he comes up with Magical Meltdown. Magical Meltdown, the field spell for the Invoke deck. When activated, it allows you to add Alistair the Invoker to your hand. It also provides some protection from certain spell and trap cards. And actually, I think monster effects as well. I believe it's you can't chain. Is it you can't chain to a fusion spell? That sort of thing?
None of that will be relevant here, though.
No, there are essentially nothing that Ryan Yu is going to do to try to interact in that way. And you also can't activate
he activates Cosmic Cyclone in his own main phase, giving up 1,000 life points and letting you begin chaining his traps. See what he targets.
All right, targets this one.
Threatening Roar.
Threatening Roar. Not the greatest.
Not at all.
But at least it didn't start a massive chain that would take out even more life points.
Yeah.
Magical Meltdown's activated next, and he's going to go ahead and search for Alistair.
That's not a great exchange for Reach because 1,000 life points is really important in this matchup.
It really is. That's 5 cards on the field with Secret Barrel.
Yeah. In a lot of duels, 1,000 life points when you're at 8,000 is almost inconsequential. This is not one of those duels.
Normal summon Alistair. It's going to get Invocation out of his deck. Is he playing only 1? No, 2 Invocation. I like that. Yeah. I like being able to have multiple Invocations because it's not... You can play multiple per turn. And then he plays Book of Moon to flip Alistair face down. Now, Alistair gets its effect not only when it's normal summon, but also when it's flipped face up, as we saw quite a bit in the latter rounds yesterday. So he's going to get a card out of his hand that is useless against this deck, and he uses it instead to give himself more ways to dig through the deck. This Book of Moon, I don't really know. I don't think you really want it.
Yeah, well, it would work against Lazion, right?
Yeah, that's about it.
And then he could either use a Kaiju to tribute it, or he could clear it with something like Slumber while it's face down. Put that aside, probably the second Invocation is more valuable.
Almost certainly. He wants to be able to get this duel done as fast as he can. He sends Thunder King the Lightning Strike Kaiju to the graveyard along with banishing Alistair.
Interesting strategy. It seems he might actually just be trying to reduce the number of cards he has.
Yeah, he is.
To limit the impact of Secret Barrel, Just Desserts, keeping the monsters low, and the other cards that count what he has in his hand and on his field.
That basically has to be it, but I do wonder if maybe he wanted to keep the Book of Moon in hand as a spell to discard for Mechaba.
That would certainly make sense.
It's not like Ryan Yu's deck doesn't have any spell cards. He's got plenty, and they're all really good. 3 Pot of Duality, 2 Card of Demise, 2 Pot of Desires, and 2 Train Strike, the card that gives Chainburn its name.
Heish might have another spell card in his hand that also does not interact well with you.
It is indeed possible.
Players are encouraged to shuffle very thoroughly in order to properly randomize their decks, especially at this level of competition.
So it all kind of depends on what Raphael has left in his hand. Monsters, not super good. And we note that he hasn't used Invocation to put Alistair back in his hand. So it does seem that card count is something that he's thinking about here.
So he couldn't attack due to the effect of Threatening Roar, so he simply passes his turn, and then Yu draws a monster and sets it.
I wonder what that could be.
There's only so many monsters it could be, and you know which one I'm hoping it is.
I know.
Of course, even if it's Dice Jar, its effect may be negated.
Well, that's interesting. Do you negate Dice Jar, or do you take the chance? I guess if you're at 7,000, you negate it. It's Dice Jar! Roll them. Let's see what we got.
Now Reach has a decision to make.
You want to negate that.
50% chance this card actually hurts you.
A 50% chance. Now Reich is losing some life points. And a particularly low percent.
He's letting it resolve.
Oh,
no, he's not.
He's activating Mechaba, okay.
He's using the Mechaba's effect.
And the question is, can he do it in the damage step? Let's find out. Does it negate the activation or just negate the effect?
I believe it's the activation, which means he would be able to do it.
Indeed.
But let's check the text just to make absolutely certain.
And he does indeed decide to negate and banish it.
That's unfortunate. I was so excited to see that Dice Jar.
All right, Ryan Yu fills up his back row once again and plays back to height. He goes in and attacks.
Secret Barrel starts the cane. Heish decides whether he wants to negate it.
Chainlink 2.
He activates Mechaba's effect and decides he wants to negate the activation of it.
Let's see what's next.
I believe Mechaba's a once per turn effect, right?
It is.
So he's sort of giving you free range to activate whatever else he wishes to activate.
His Secret Barrel could just be a ruse to get him to use the Mechaba early so that he can chain a bunch of stuff, like Ojama Trio, and just deserts. Reckless Greed, even. Oh, no. What did he discard then? It must have been Max C. He must have sent Max C to the graveyard just to get it out of his hand in response to Secret Barrel.
I couldn't tell what monster he discarded, but he did negate it. Mechaba attacks direct. Oh, no, he didn't negate it.
No, he didn't negate it. He discarded a Max C to get a card out of his hand.
Oh, to reduce the... oh, that's interesting. So he didn't want to leave himself vulnerable to something like Dimension Wall.
Indeed.
So he wanted to keep Mechaba's activation relevant and still active on the field, and then instead just reduce the damage by 200 by using Maxi's effect. That's clever. Yu uses Wabaku to prevent the damage on the next turn.
And Raphael's able to keep on drawing cards. You know, the longer it takes you to being able to create a chain here, the more chance is that Alfredo is going to have the cards he needs to get rid of to negate them. Let's see what happens this time.
It's also possible H does not have a trap card to discard, which is why he did not negate Secret Barrel, in which case something like Dimension Wall would be a big deal.
Yeah, he only has 5 traps in his deck total. Secret Barrel is activated and he takes another look at it. It does 200 damage to H for each card he controls or in his hand.
He's trying to figure out how he can throw away some more cards.
Chain Strike is activated next. That's good for 200 damage right now, but Mechaba, I believe it activates. Next is Blazing Mirror Force. This is in response to the attack.
That's the card he probably wanted to negate.
Next is the second Chain Strike.
Oh, wow.
And as we've explained earlier, this is totally legal.
That's right. When he activates the second Chain Strike, there's only one Chain Strike on the chain below it.
So there are 5 effects on the chain right now. Chain Strike is the 5th. That's a cool 2,000 damage. Blazing Mirror Force, I believe, is going to do 1,250 to each player. So 2,000 plus 1,250, 3,250. A Chain Strike is negated, and the Secret Barrel will hit him for whatever's in his hand. As our duelists work out the math here. Yes, and while the activation of Chain Strike is negated there, it doesn't change the chain link number of the second Chain Strike, because it's not removed from the chain until Mechaba itself resolves.
Looks like the Secret Barrel will inflict 1,000 points of damage, as Heish has 1 card on the field, Magical Meltdown, plus 4 cards in his hand.
Indeed. And when we put that all together, Heish is down to pretty low numbers. 2,000 plus 1,250 plus 1,000. That's 4,250.
He should be down to 1,750.
1,750 is a dangerous number here.
It is. 1 strong attack into a Dimension Wall, and that would be the duel.
Or even something like a, if he could get his opponent to draw while he has Lazion on the field on his first turn.
That's true.
Or even just something like Lazion Secret Barrel, or Lazion Secret Blast could get him there. Although he probably need 1 more card on the field, I think, for that to work. No, 2 more cards.
2, yeah.
You need 2 cards.
Okay, Heish gets Invocation back using his Alistair's effect.
Yep, he's going to try to get another Mechaba down there.
He will be able to do that since he does have the first one in the graveyard. So he has the light requirement already in the graveyard to banish with Invocation.
And he plays 2, correct? Yes, he does play 2.
Yes. So he uses Alistair to search for the Invocation, activates it.
And really, it's nice to have that Kaiju there, the Lightning Strike Kaiju. You can see now why it's there, for its attribute.
That's true, too. So he banished that. He could have just banished the Mechaba, though.
That's true, he could. I wonder if he has a way to bring it back. I don't think he does.
That would be interesting. Doesn't look like it. In which case, it just makes no difference what he banishes.
Indeed.
Thanks to Mechaba, Heish is actually not in the worst shape.
Nope, he's at low life.
Yes,
but he's got cards in his hand to discard, and Ryan Yu only has 1 card left.
That's right.
Unless it's something really good, like Card of Demise level, and he catches Raphael without a spell in hand, which honestly doesn't seem super likely, because I believe he has the second Invocation.
And if he doesn't have it now, he'll certainly have it on his next turn when he returns Alistair to his hand and is able to resummon it if he chooses to do so.
Indeed.
Heish must have seen Yu's 7-card draw with Balance of Judgment.
Yeah.
Because he is being very reluctant to commit cards to the field.
The scary thing is traps here. He's got so few traps in his deck, and he has to attack.
That's true. He's not going to win without attacking. Only you can do that.
Picks Alistair back up. But I guess the concern here is you got to finish it now as opposed to later. So there's no point in really, I don't know if there's a point in waiting to get a trap card to discard if you don't already have it, because that just increases the chances that Ryan Yu's going to be able to pull another one out of his hat.
Yes, there's very few cards you can draw that are actually just not useful. Most of them either deal damage or draw cards, and that's exactly what he wants to do, especially with Heish at only 1,750 life points.
Invoke Mechaba plus Alistair, that represents 3,500. Does he have a second Alistair? If he had an Alistair in his hand, he could actually just straight up win.
Assuming no useful cards in the back row.
Even another Blazing Mirror Force could do it. Yeah, and he knows that it could do it too, so he switches to defense. And he's going to try and get through there with Alistair. 1,000. Ryan Yu takes it. Well, Hafiel taking no chances with Dimension Wall or another Blazing Mirror Force.
He very likely does not have the trap card to discard to negate one of those cards, which is why he's being so cautious. He might go for it this turn, though, because now
yeah, it's a guaranteed win.
He can end it if it gets through. And I think it's probably worth the risk of losing by trying to win here. I think the benefit of that outweighs the giving you the opportunity to draw one more card.
He's got 6 in hand. You see his hands are shaking a bit there.
Yeah. Well, this is the World Championship Finals.
It is indeed.
If there's a time to be nervous while dueling, this is probably it.
Oh, he had 7 cards in hand, and in the end phase, he discards Ghidarla.
So he attacks with only Alistair, and then Yu draws Pot of Desires and banishes the top 10 cards of his deck to try to draw 2 cards. But Invocation negates Pot of Desires, and now Yu is free to activate whatever he wishes.
Yeah, if he's got the burn cards, he wins.
If he has Card of Demise down even, or some bluff spell card.
Well, Demise will stop him from doing any damage this turn.
This turn.
But I bet it is. Oh, it's Desserts.
Just Desserts for 1,000.
Does he have the trio for game?
I don't think he would activate Just Desserts if he
got
didn't.
It.
Ojama Trio.
Just Desserts with Ojama Trio. Baiting out Invoke Mechaba with Pot of Desires. He's able to pull this one out.
We see that you did have Balance of Judgment, but because Heish played around it the entire duel, he wasn't able to activate it.
Smart play from Heish there. But
yes.
It turns out that if he had just gone all in and attacked, he would have had it.
He would have.
He would have
You're
had
right.
it.
All he had was the Ojama Trio, the Just Desserts.
It's that classic scenario from Duelist Kingdom.
It. Yep.
Where if my attack, she's got him.
Yeah.
But in the end, he managed to bluff her out of it.
With his Monster Recovery card.
Well, things like that do happen in real life.
Yeah.
Although I'm still a little disappointed about the dice jar. Definitely the right move. Not trusting it to a die roll.
Although, at the end of that duel, Yu's life points was indeed below 6,000.
It was.
So that die roll could have actually cost him the duel.
Indeed.
If Heish had rolled a 6, would have been a totally different game.
Well, I don't think we're ever going to know what happens there unless you decide to keep dice jar in.
He may.
he could do that.
Sort of worked out in the first duel by forcing a Mechaba activation.
His side deck's very interesting. He's got a couple of fairy tale monsters, both Luna and Snow. But then he also has things like Jinzo and Psychic Shockwave.
I saw that. I have no idea what that's for. The only thing I could think of is because he's playing Burn and thinks Burn is such a strong deck, he might think that some of his opponents might be playing Burn.
That's
I
true.
feel like it's I feel like that's common at the World Championship. There's some sort of effect where you feel like you have discovered the best deck in the World Championship format. So you think other players in the tournament who are just as skilled as you are and also the best in the world might also be playing that same deck.
That makes sense.
Could you think of any other reason you would want to include Jinzo and Psychic Shockwave in your side deck?
Not really, especially considering the Dinosaur plays one trap and it's a counter trap that you can't chain it to, and all the rest of them are continuous, and they can just be tributed off anyways to destroy Jinzo. So I think you're correct there. What I'm imagining is that he's trying to create a scenario here where his opponent plays the first trap, then he chains with Psychic Shockwave, and then all of his other cards. So all of his cards resolve, and then Jinzo is special summoned to negate the original trap that the opponent played. So presumably that's the scenario you would try to create if you were going to bring in Psychic Shockwave here.
Yeah, and his opponents also might side deck out all of the cards that can destroy Jinzo easily.
Right. So in this case, though, I think he's going to put in his Zaphion the Time Lords. Zaphion is basically there for decks like this. But we didn't see the True Draco half of it. All we saw were the, third of it. All we saw were the Invoke monsters and the Kaijus. And the Invoke monsters are really what he wants there. That's what gives him the power to dictate which cards you is able to play and which ones will not resolve.
That's true, and Zephion's probably not that strong against the invoked portion of the deck.
No. It's definitely, it doesn't do anything because they're monsters. He would need Medaon or Camion, and he's actually not playing either of them. It's a little interesting that he wouldn't go with Camion since it's basically spot removal of any of those cards plus an extra 500 points of damage.
Yeah, we saw Metayon in a lot of burn decks in the past, and so I was actually most intrigued by the fact that he's not using Metayon the Time Lord.
I would think that he would want to go for the utility. If he could only play one more Time Lord in his extra deck or had to sacrifice one of the Zaphions, I think he might take the higher utility Camion as opposed to the higher potential impact Medaon.
That could be.
I've been playing with a lot of Time Lords, and that's really the question is, do you want Medaon in there or do you want Camion? Especially if you're going to put in like an entire package. Like sometimes you'll side in 3 Time Maiden and a set of whatever Time Lords you need, and you generally don't put in any more than 3 Time Lords, so you kind of have to pick and choose.
Heish does have a couple of cards he will want to put in. I think we'll probably see Droll and Lockbird come in, just because it's better than a lot of the cards that are currently in his main deck.
Yes, so that's one of the things where, let's say Pot of Desires happens, he could activate that afterwards, and then stop any follow-ups from Card of Demise or Reckless Greed or anything like that.
Right. And in addition, I think maybe we'll see Forbidding Chalice come in, just because it's a card that can negate all of the monster effects as low as the deck is on monsters. It's probably better than stuff like the Kaijus.
Although the thing with the Kaijus is that those are what gives him, well, they help him get access to a bunch of different Invoke monsters.
That's
so, for
true
example,
too.
without Thunder King in that first duel, what does he really have?
That is true. So maybe Thunder King will stay in.
He's probably going to sub out Max. Well, maybe he'll keep Maxi because you can discard it whenever you need to. It's really interesting.
I don't think he needs Book of Eclipse.
Perhaps not. I don't think he wants Ryan Yu drawing any extra cards.
No.
Or flipping his monsters twice.
Solemn Warning, the cost might be a little hefty.
Yeah, if he could swap that out, does he have any other traps to use? I mean, Dimensional
that's a
Barrier
good
is a card
question,
that he could
actually.
just activate and get off the field if he needed to.
Oh, and discard with Makaba.
Or discard with Makaba. That's the thing with taking out warnings. You get fewer traps in your deck, but
Yeah.
I think he might just put in some traps that he's going to play otherwise.
I think
as
you're actually
discards.
right. It actually might not be a bad idea to just putting traps that don't really have an impact when activated because they're powerful when discarded to Makaba. And I do actually like his approach in the first duel to try to lean on Makaba to win, and after Makaba was destroyed, summon a second Makaba. I do think that's actually the best way to approach this matchup.
And it looks like he is having Ryan Yu go first, trying to cut him off from an extra card. Activates Pot of Duality, showing Threatening War, Secret Barrel.
And Pot of Duality.
Pot of Duality. And he takes the second Duality, putting the traps back into the deck.
Unfortunately for you, he can only activate 1 Pot of Duality per turn, so we will not see that be activated right now.
That's an interesting choice, considering that he's effectively down a card now for the rest of the turn.
We don't know what's in the rest of his hand, so he might not have had anything that interacts well with the other 2 cards.
It's times like these when you really wish you had a judge there with an iPad entering all their cards, because the suspense is killing me. I want to know what he's got over there.
It just adds to the excitement, Jerome.
I'm just going to keep thinking about it while he's shuffling. What makes you take the second pawn of duality? Are you just going to set it and go for like a card of demise play or something, and then have duality to filter through your cards again next turn?
I doubt that. I think if he had a card of demise, he'd probably want the secret barrel. My guess is that he needs something that interacts. What was the third card? Do you remember?
Threatening Roar.
Threatening Roar. Yeah, I guess if he had card demise, I think he would probably take secret barrel. But let's see.
Yes, that's 4.
My guess is he's digging for something that will actually interact with his opponent's monsters to hold them off permanently, like a Blazing Mirror Force, for instance.
Interesting that he kept a card in hand. What could that be?
It's probably the duality.
Oh, you don't think he said it?
I doubt it.
Terraforming is activated. Goes and gets Dragonic Diagram this time. Interesting, he's taking a different approach to this duel. Unless he already has Meltdown. Though, Dragonic Diagram destroying True Draco's spells could help him start picking through those cards.
Yes, anything that's unchainable and gets hit is a loss to you, especially when his cards are so valuable to him. Plus, we saw Heish heavily rely on a strategy that involves destroying his own cards or just getting them off the field to limit the impact of cards like Balance of Judgment and Secret Barrel. So Dragonic Diagram actually plays well into that strategy.
So the unchainables in Yu's deck are Blazing Mirror Force and Dimension Wall. Everything else can be flipped.
Unless he sets a spell like Pot of Duality.
Right. Now, assuming that he's not doing that, he's left nothing but chainables.
Yes. But those are big impact cards.
They are.
Blazing Mirror Force and Dimension Wall are actually 2 of the cards that deal the most damage with a single card.
Yeah, and Blazing Mirror Force takes all the monsters off the field.
Yes. Ooh, Pot of Desires for Heish.
One last 10th card hiding there. Draws 2 more, adding more cards to his hand. Could be dangerous.
It's interesting because the cards Heish needs are very specific. They're cards that will interact well with Yu's Chain Burn deck, so he wants cards that negate like Makaba. A lot of the cards in his deck just won't help him.
And he does have Magical Meltdown, so he's going to go get Alistair.
That's a good start.
That just gets even more cards on his field, though. I wonder if he's getting set up here.
Well, he could always get rid of it with the diagram he added to his hand earlier.
But that just replaces it with another card.
That's true, but it gets the
Actually,
diagram
no,
out of his hand.
In that case, I thought you meant the Alistair. No, yes, that would get rid of Magical Meltdown.
Yes.
All right. Alistair is normal summoned, and that's going to go ahead and get him Invocation. Sends that to the graveyard, and now he does indeed activate Dragonic Diagram. Diagram destroys.
Looks like a spell in his hand.
Yeah, it's a spell, but I'm not entirely certain what spell it is. To get Masterpiece.
A Masterpiece immune to traps would be pretty good. Well, it won't stop the Dimension Wall, but it'll get through Blazing Mirror Force. Since Dimension Wall affects the player rather than the monster itself.
And if you could come up with, like, Masterpiece Mechaba, that's pretty good.
That would be insane.
Or he might just throw it away to make Mechaba.
He will.
So different cards, but the exact same result. Invoke Mechaba is going to be on the field.
Masterpiece seems like it would actually be fairly strong to summon in this matchup. Just hitting your opponent's cards the turn your opponent sets them,
yeah,
so he can't chain them. Yeah,
He hasn't had any continuous cards, though, has he?
That I don't know, because I don't know his hand. So he certainly could have gotten to them, though, with the diagram, eventually.
It's true. There is no eventually, though, in this particular matchup.
Well, it would take at most 2 turns. So if he could spare the 2 turns, he could have made a long-term strategy involving Masterpiece. Although Makabe now is also good.
All right, handing off to the judges for one final cut.
Yeah, it really depends what's in his hand, and we don't know what's in his hand. Makabe attacks. He must feel safe against Dimension Wall, and there it is.
Dimension Wall is a trap card that makes your opponent take damage instead of you.
He takes it. He must not have a trap card in his hand.
He doesn't have that many. I'm thinking maybe he didn't side any more in.
Yeah, he has 5 in the main deck, and if he took your strategy, which I think actually would have been a very good idea, although not easy to think of, he would have 8 because he had in the barriers.
Indeed, he takes 25 there.
Balance of Judgment.
Secret Blast, and Absolute King Backjack.
None of those cards are too good here.
I like Backjack, though, because it blocks an attack, possibly forces a negation.
That's true.
And if it just goes to the graveyard, do you think they're really going to negate the effect to rearrange your top 3 cards? Is that worth a card?
Certainly not that effect. Makabe can also negate the banish effect, right?
It can.
So I think that one it's more likely to negate because it's essentially draw a card.
But let's say that your opponent doesn't negate and you get to rearrange your cards. Well, now you know they're probably going to negate the other one.
Right.
So you can rearrange your deck in such a way where you put the card that you actually want to draw on top instead and kind of mind game them that way.
That is risky, though, because he also might leave Makabe's effect open to try to negate a different card. So there's no guarantee he'll actually negate Jack back.
Oh, I think when you actually make that play, you have to be very decisive in your mannerisms when you're doing it. So if you're going to try to pull it off like that, you rearrange your cards, slam them back on top of your deck, and then hurl Backjack into your banish pile. All right, it is still Ryan Yu's turn.
At a minimum, Jack back will absorb 1 attack.
Exactly, and that's valuable as well.
It is.
Sets 2 cards, monster and a speller trap. Activates Dragonic Diagram's effect. And he's destroying Droll and Lockbird in this instance. See if that comes back to haunt him later.
It might. I feel like it's very hard to actually activate Droll and Lockbird here.
Yeah.
In this matchup. Because if they put a bunch of cards on the chain that all draw cards, you don't even have an opportunity to discard it if they haven't already drawn in the turn.
I mean, you use it against Pot of Duality, could you not?
You could after they add the card.
Right.
And then they can't draw any more cards. But I don't know if Chainburn really draws a lot of times in a turn. It draws a lot of cards in a turn.
Right. So, but if they say Duality for Card of Demise,
yes,
you would just throw it down right there because you know it's coming.
Right. But then they won't activate the card Demise. They'll have it for next turn. That's true.
That's what you want.
Yeah. It slows them down. That's for sure.
And now he's going to tribute summon Dynamite Knight.
Yes. True Draco Heritage is getting tributed for it, and Balance of Judgment is sent to the graveyard due to the effect of the Heritage. Not particularly relevant here, but it could have become relevant.
Mechaba goes to defense to protect against Blazing Mirror Force.
He must not have a trap card in his hand again.
And attacks into Backjack. Backjack activates and he just negates it. With, it's got to be with Mechaba.
So he negates the rearrange effect because that banishes Jack back, right?
Yeah.
Since Mechaba banishes the cards it negates, or do those cards have to be on the field for it to banish them?
I don't think so. But it seems like he also wants to activate Dynamite Knight, which he cannot. So, Backjack is banished, and another card is not pulled out of the deck with Dynamite Knight. And we'll shuffle up, and the game will continue.
Yes, the card can be anywhere to be banished by Makaba. Does not have to be on the field. That is clear from the text of the card.
I think I like the setup a lot better than the last one. I mean, it helps obviously that you have the increased power of Dynamite Knight here, 2,800, plus you can get traps out of your deck. This is what we mentioned before.
Yes.
Is being able to get the traps out of your deck to negate with Mechaba.
Yes.
He just sets a card and passes. The thing he has to remember, though, is that he can't have the trap activate, search with Dynamite, but also negate the trap in the same chain.
Right.
That you cannot do.
So you will want to make his first chain of trap cards really count, because that's the chain that's going to get through. Unless H just top decked a trap card, which is unlikely given the low number in his deck.
Yu takes 2,800 here. That's a plus 300 boost from Dragonic Diagram. And Rafael Heiss takes the lead by 300.
Looks like they missed the 300 boost.
Dark Hole activates, and it resolves.
Wow, no spell card in Heish's hand.
So that must mean his hand's all monsters.
Yeah, if there's no traps and no spells, that's all it could be.
It's got to be all monsters. That's rough.
Did he use Dynamite's effect?
He didn't.
So he could have gotten a trap.
He didn't. He forgot.
He was still,
he
was still stunned by the Dark Hole.
That happens.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That might actually cost him.
How you react when the crazy top decks happen is part of the game. And just being able to stay in the moment and make the right move is important if you want to be the world champion. And it looked like they were pointing out the extra damage from Dragonic Diagram right there.
Yes. They should be able to fix that pretty easily.
And now we're activating Diagram's effect. Destroying Droll and Lockberg.
Again.
Now he gets a spell card, Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. Now he could get another tribute summon here. Presumably he's got plenty of monsters to do so.
He must if that's all that's in his hand. But he plays a lot of weird monsters in his deck too. He plays a lot of Kaijus. They're not all true Dracos.
It's true.
Okay, so he activates Invocation first. I think we will very likely see him banish Alistair with the Makaba or a different light monster if he has one, in order to summon another Makaba like he did in the first duel.
Yeah, presumably he's just making the second one. Don't see any real reason not to there.
Yep.
And it's nice to have a spell in your hand now so that you can prevent things like the Dark Hole from happening.
Yes. It's unfortunate he didn't grab a trap card though with Dynamite.
And he's thinking about which position to summon it in. Attack mode or defense mode. He's already attacked this. No, he's not attacked this turn.
So he puts in attack position.
Activates Disciple. And he's going to put 3 cards back into his deck to draw one.
So I believe he has Heritage, Masterpiece, and Dynamite, right?
Yes.
Yep, so since those are the only 3, that's what's going back. I think that might leave him with no spells, though.
It very well might.
Because if he didn't have a spell for the Dark Hole,
and he picked that one up off of Diagram, then perhaps he does not.
yeah.
Well,
He might draw one here.
no, he just used Invocation, so he doesn't have that yet.
Right. He might have drawn a spell for his turn. Also possible.
All right, we shuffle up. He's going to get to draw one more card. And we'll see if it's a good one.
Part of the cards.
Declares an attack. Secret Barrel is activated as Chain Link 1. Uh-oh.
H did not want to see him reaching for a card.
Uh-oh, look out, Raphael. Chain Link 2 is Ojama Trio.
Now Macabre is going to activate. He gets rid of...
I bet he's got the other trio.
Ring of Destruction.
It's during his opponent's turn.
It certainly is.
All right, Ring of Destruction is going to hit both players for 1250. Ojama Trio is getting banished.
Is it half for Ring?
Oh, no,
No,
it's total.
it's
I think
the
it plays
full
in Mirror
amount,
Force.
yeah.
It's the full amount. So 2,500 to each player, and then the
Yes.
Secret Barrel damage as well.
Yes. Ring of Destruction has had its effect changed since it was first released.
Indeed.
But-
Just not changed to what I thought it was.
Yeah, but the spirit of the card is still very much the same. Card of Demise off the top and
Oh, my goodness.
amazing. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring negates it. H uses his Dragonic Diagram to destroy his disciples of the True Draco Phoenix.
And I should have some smaller life points here because of the Secret Barrel damage. And time has apparently just been called in the round. 40 minutes have elapsed. And Raphael has turn 0 here.
Wow, that's really bad for Heish because he needs to win this duel just to get it to a third duel.
Indeed.
And then is at a huge disadvantage in the third duel because the burn deck easily inflicts damage early on and generally struggles in the late game, which won't exist.
That it does, and there won't be any more side decking allowed either since it's happening after the 40 minutes are up. Draws an extra card. The score should be 27 to 2,000.
Double Tribute, Masterpiece hits the field. I think this is the end for you.
Unless he draws Dimension Wall. Actually,
Even
no,
still, it'll be
it doesn't.
destroyed in the end phase.
Right.
Masterpiece activates, and you immediately concedes.
All right, so I thought you had him there when he pulled Card of Demise off the top of the deck, but all of the monsters that Raphael had been holding the entire game happened to be ones he could pitch from his hand, like Droll and Lockbird, and in the end, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. And it looks like it's going to be we're going to get another roll to decide who's going to go first in this last game, since it is happening after the 40 minutes have elapsed. So no side decking. Oh, don't forget your Dragonic Diagram and Alistair, Raphael. You're going to need them. There you go.
I don't know if these duelists would really want a side deck entering the third duel anymore. Anyway, I think that the way they side decked entering the second duel is probably how they're going to want to keep their decks.
Unless there's a specific thing that you would do if you knew you were going first or second,
Yes.
which you now do not.
That's true.
All right, so the way this is going to work is as follows. These players will play at least 4 turns. At the end of those 4 turns, we will check the life points. Whoever has more life points is the winner of the duel, the match, and is the 2017 Dragon Duel World Champion. If we have a tie after those 4 turns, we will keep playing until the tie is broken. And at the end of the chain, which is of course important for this particular deck, the end of any chain, if there is a change in life points, the duelist with more life points is the winner.
Ryan Yu seems to have a clear advantage here.
He does, and it's really going to depend on this dice roll here. I think he would want to give... I think he wants to go second here. To only give 1 attacking turn.
Definitely.
That seems like the advantage here.
Now, how does this work? Does the player who wins the die roll get to choose, or does the player who wins the die roll have to go first?
They get to choose. They get to choose.
Yes, second would definitely be a lot better for you.
Yeah, this is a tense situation. The entire Dragon Duel World Championship being decided on a 4-turn extra duel. Hard to imagine higher stakes than that. And I do wonder how Heish will react to it, considering that the Dark Hole, that he didn't chain to the Dark Hole with his Dynamite Knight in the last duel. I wonder if something like that, if the pressure could get to him again.
It could.
Certainly a spell card a little earlier could have helped. All right, Bottom Desires comes up first.
Looks like Yu is going first, but the Pot of Desires does resolve, so he does draw 2 cards.
He's got a couple good ones there.
It looks like a very strong hand.
That's a Threatening Roar and Just Desserts.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about it. Cards like Threatening Roar and Waboku are incredible here.
Yeah, look on his face says, yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
He's got a Jama Trio as well. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
I think he had 2 Just Desserts.
Saw,
go with that Ojama Trio?
I didn't see the second one. Terraforming is activated. And this is turn 1.
So Heish only gets 2 battle phases, and he'll have to skip one of them because of Threatening Roar.
That's the question, though, is do you take the damage in the first one and then just, if you have the lead, flip Waboku for game on the draw phase?
Very likely. It really depends. If he can skip 2 of his opponent's battle phases, even better.
Did he have Threatening Roar as well? Threatening Roar and Waboku?
He has Waboku?
I only saw Roar.
Yeah, I think he only has the Roar. But I don't know all 5 of his cards. Either way,
and you see the dimensional barriers. He did, in fact, side them in.
Oh, very good play by him.
Yep.
He seems to have been very prepared for this match to play against Chainburn.
Yeah, so I can see where his confidence was coming from, but it looks like it might not be enough.
Yes, and he did get it to a 3rd duel already. Still to be decided.
Sets a card. Tributes it. Oh, it's a trap, not a spell. Ignis Heat is summoned. That'll just get more spell. Cosmic Cyclone's activated, really?
Pays 1,000 life points already, bringing him at a disadvantage.
I don't know.
He's now at a 1,000 life point deficit before you even activates any burn cards.
I don't know about that.
Just Desserts is chained.
I think Heish knows what's coming next.
Do you activate the effect of Ignis Heat to build the chain even more for Chain Strike?
I don't think you do in this
Secret
case.
Barrel is chained.
Now you definitely don't.
Ogama Trio.
Trio's next. Oh my goodness.
That's 3 more cards on Heish's field, and all 3 of them are monsters, adding 1,500 points of damage to Just Desserts.
And another 600 to Secret Barrel. Oh boy. Things are not looking good.
The 1,000 points from Galaxy Cosmic Cyclone is just a bonus there.
It really is. That's a lot of damage.
And now he decides to chain the effect of Ignis Heat.
He's going for it.
Which means he'll actually take an extra 200 points of damage from the Secret Barrel, since the card is added to his hand at the top of the chain.
He's got to be trying to get something else onto the field.
He's in so much trouble right now. Which card was targeted by the Cosmic Cyclone?
I believe it was the trio.
Okay, so he didn't get any use out of that.
Hands over 3 tokens. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 1,800.
6 on the field, 3 in the hand. Cosmic Cyclone still counts for Secret Barrel, even though it is destined to go to the graveyard once it resolves.
So 18 and 2,000. 3,800 on top of the 1,000 from Cosmic Cyclone. That's pretty rough.
That is.
Doesn't get more painful than that.
That was not a good turn for Heish.
He can still try to get some damage in here.
Maybe. He can try. He can certainly try. At this point, if you're you and he only attacks with the Ignis Heat, I imagine you just take the hit. And then in your opponent's draw phase, you can Threatening Roar.
He's going to draw another card. It's got to be a good one.
Yes, he sent an Apocalypse to the graveyard?
Yes. So it's one card. But he does need to shuffle first because he searched with Ignis Heat. What does he do to get out of this?
I was
don't
just thinking that same thing.
There's just not enough time. He only gets one more turn.
Well, if he gets...
The only thing that can really happen is that Ryan Yu can mess up. If he messes up with Threatening Roar and tries to activate it in response to the attack, he'll get nothing out of it.
What's the restriction on Ogama Trio tokens? They can't be tributed?
Can't be tributed for a tribute summon, I believe. And they do damage when they're destroyed.
Right. It's tough. The only thing I can think of is maybe he'll be able to gain an additional normal summon Masterpiece. And then with Masterpiece on the field, he'll be able to banish, destroy a card on his own turn, as well as a card on Yu's turn, ideally hitting the Threatening Roar and landing 2 direct attacks on his next turn with really powerful monsters.
And the attacks will be boosted by a Draconic Diagram at least, so Ignis Heat is at 2,700.
But without being able to tribute the Ogama Trio tokens, as you're correct, they cannot be tributed for a tribute summon. He would also need another card to set.
And he's going here to get the extra summon. And targets Reckless Greed.
Oh,
Reckless Greed.
Reckless Greed is chained. This is actually quite good for Heish.
Yeah. With the extra power bonuses, you got a 28 and a 27. That's 5,500 damage.
That'll bring you below his own life total, so it really forces you to activate the Threatening Roar to keep his top decks live, so that if he draws another card that can disrupt a battle phase, he'll win.
He doesn't get to draw any more cards because of Reckless Greed.
Well, he'll need it off the Reckless Greed.
Yeah.
All things considered, the Reckless Greed isn't too bad because he's getting 2 cards and only will have to get 1 draw phase since he only gets 1 more draw phase this game.
I feel a lot better about Heish chances now with that second True Draco on the field.
Because now he has the pressure there. Oh, and if he uses Threatening Roar, which he does, in order to preserve his life total, Dynamite gets to activate its effect to add a trap card to Heish's hand if he wants to.
Skips his draw phase for the turn. Summons Zephion. Zephion, the Time Lord. And I think he's going to get it. I think Ryan Yu has it. Can't be damaged. Can't be destroyed. The only thing he can do is give him a Kaiju.
A Kaiju would work, and we know he kept Kaijus in. Right? He at least kept the light one in.
He activates Card of Demise. Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Unbelievable.
He doesn't need a draw phase when he draws 3 cards with Card of Demise.
Why not draw 5 cards in a turn and a half?
And he changed his own max C to the Card of the Demise, allowing him to pick up all 3.
Oh my goodness.
Pot of Duality lets him look at the top 3 and pick the one that can win him the duel.
Well, let me see. Show him. That's a Desires, a Backjack, and Secret Blast. Wow.
I think he took the Desires.
Wow, I did not quite see that there. I'm still in a little bit of stunned disbelief over how good that Reckless Greed was. Unbelievable. All right, well, we'll see if Alpha gets that chance to attack at all.
Pot of Desires comes down.
Still 1 turn left off Reckless Greed.
Is that
Did he pick up
2
double
Dark Holes? I think he did. Is Zephion also immune to your own spell and trap cards?
Presumably, otherwise he wouldn't be playing it.
Wow. He clears the field, and that also will do 900 points of damage to Heish, who's going to lose all of the Ojama tokens.
Unbelievable.
300 for each.
I'll go ahead and grab our Zaffion text there. Everybody loves Zaffion.
I'm not sure Heish does.
Yes, cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, including your own.
Yeah,
That's the classic Dan Posey combo. Activate Odin, okay, Dark Hole.
Heish does gain the effect of Dynamite in order to get True King's Return from his deck, and it looks like he plays it face up. But he is in big trouble here.
He's going to at least be able to reclaim a monster here.
In the end phase, Yu doesn't have any cards to discard from his hand, with a Card of Demise's drawback.
All right, he's going to special summon with True King's Return to get a Dynamite Knight. And Reich, this is it. This is the final turn.
That's, yes. Heish is at 2,300 life points.
We'll see if you can even just finish it right now, not even let the turn end. Heish is thinking very hard. Very, very hard indeed. It is turn 3. He does
have the Kaiju. If not for the Dark Hole, that would have been a big deal.
And he gets to draw a card because Zaffion was sent from the field to the graveyard. But his work is cut out for him. Heish is at 2,300 life points. That is a 5,700 point difference that he has to make up past Godarla. I can't imagine that this doesn't involve Masterpiece somehow.
I agree. I think if there's a way to do it, it's probably with Masterpiece. He does have Dragonic Diagram, which could destroy the True King's Return, which can take down the Gandharla.
There's every chance that he just loses to another battle phase stopper, though.
Yeah, I mean, if he had the Threatening Roar or Waboku, I think he would have activated it. There's no reason not to, since this is the last turn of the duel.
And he does indeed destroy the True King's Return there, so we will get rid of Godarla.
And he will add Masterpiece to his hand. So if he has the right cards in his hand to summon Masterpiece...
It's got to be like summon Masterpiece and Alistair in the same turn and activate Invocation, and Ryan Yu has nothing. I think that's the only way he wins this.
Yeah, yeah. Every play basically depends on you having nothing, which is very unlikely.
Masterpiece is out of the hand. I saw a brief glimpse of a trap. A True King's Return. Checks his extra deck. I think he's thinking the same thing we are. He's got to get an Invoke monster and Masterpiece on the field.
Well, he has the Alistair.
Alistair is okay.
He summons it. He gets Invocation to his hand.
You know, it's interesting that you didn't attack with Zaffion to send the True King's Return back to the deck.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that. I'm not sure why he didn't.
He might have just thought that there's no way he could lose, so he didn't need to.
And he might be right. There's the Invocation.
Are there any other light monsters? Activate Invocation. 2,300 life points left.
That's a good question. I don't think there are.
Yeah, he has to get rid of Masterpiece. And he does. And he does have a trap in his hand. I saw it earlier.
So that's good.
He's going to need to get Invocation back into the deck to play for damage here. He's got to get Alistair back and try to get in. Nekba's a machine. He attacks for 28. 28 and 35 will be 28. Wow, I'm so excited. I can't do math straight. 28 and 35 is what? 13 plus 5,000 is 6,300.
Why 35?
I'm assuming he's going to discard for Mechaba.
Oh, you're right. He has the Alistair to increase the attack
Discard
points.
Alistair. Does he have double Alistair?
Is one enough to 35, 28?
It's not, because he only has 2,300. Oh, we would tie it.
It's 28 and 35. You're right. It would tie it.
What's Ryan going to do?
Wait, no. That would be 63. No.
Activate Secret Barrel.
No. 28 and 35 actually puts him ahead.
Does it? How much is that? 67?
I think it's 63. Leaves him at 17.
Okay, 63.
Yeah, leaves him at 17, so he is ahead. Secret Barrel can be activated now. I'm pretty sure Heish is not at 3,200 life points, though, as displayed.
No, he's not. He's at 23.
He's at 23 because of the Gnoma tokens. So,
I think, Ryan, you might have just lost.
well, it depends. How much would Secret Barrel do?
He would have had to play Secret Barrel earlier.
He could do it in main phase 2.
But it could get negated now.
It could have gotten negated before.
Not if he changed it to Invocation.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes. Does Heish definitely have the trap card in his hand?
I thought I saw it.
So Secret Barrel will attempt to tie it up. Well, no, he has cards in hand also. The Secret Barrel will actually put him ahead.
Yep. 4 cards. That'll be 23 down to 11.
He has 1 in hand?
I think he has 2. He's got 2.
2, so he'll take 1,000.
Change strike. 800 more. But if he has a spell, he could reduce the damage.
He would reduce the Secret Barrel damage. But I think it should be over, though. That if Heish is in fact at 2,300, the Secret Barrel damage alone, if he even keeps 1 card in his hand, is enough to get Heish below 1,700.
And he is at 2,300. The Ojama Chokens were destroyed, and they recorded the damage.
Yes, and that's it.
That'll do it. Ryan Yu has prevailed in a nail-biter. Absolute madness in the Dragon Duel Finals. Ryan Yu of Canada.
Congratulations to Ryan Yu, and congratulations to Canada.
Says he believes it's luck. Clearly it wasn't. He played a fantastic finals match.
He did. And it was a very close one.
Though I guess the last card of mine is pretty good. That was pretty good.
That was an incredible match, and I don't think anyone predicted it.
Ryan Yu of Canada brings Chain Burn. Takes it all the way. It was a long road. He had to go through Charlie Futch one more time and the semifinals earlier this morning. And now that he can finally relax and breathe again.
ほっとしました。今はどういう気持ちですかって聞いたところ、とてもほっとしましたってお返ししました。
Well, I tell you what, if that's the opening act, what do we have coming up next?
Duel Links.
Duel Links. So, we have just received word that our next match is going to begin in about
โอเคครับ
minutes.
เราดูลิงก์มาเจอกันนะครับ
Final
ถัดไปจะเป็นการแข่งขันรอบไฟนอลของ Duel Link แล้วนะครับ
I have a feeling that was going to be a nail biter as well. So it was widely recognized that Red Eyes was the deck speed, was it not, for Duel Links?
It seemed to be. A lot of the players agreed that it was one of the strongest decks. Many of them couldn't use it because they didn't have Red Eyes Insight, or opted not to use it because they didn't have Red Eyes Insight or enough copies of Red Eyes Insight. But the two duelists in the final round are actually playing nearly identical decks, none of them Red Eyes.
So it'll be a complete mystery to me as to what's going to happen on this one. But you'll find out when we do in about 10 minutes. Don't go away.
การแข่งขันรอบชิงนะครับจะเป็นคู่ของทัชพับนะครับกับทิมมี่นะครับผมรอสักครู่นะครับ อเคครับก่อนที่การแข่งขันจะเริ่มนะครับเรามาพูดถึงตัวละครของผู้เล่นที่เลือกกันมานะครับจะบอกว่าทัชพับกับทิมมี่นี่ถึงจะเห็นว่าตัวละครต่างกันตัวหนึ่งนะครับแต่เด็กที่เขาใช้เนี่ยเหมือนกันหมดเลยนะครับเหมือนกันหมดเลยของทัชพับเนี่ยไคบะนะครับจะเป็นบีดดาวนินจานะครับจะเป็นเด็กนินจาที่ใช้สกิลบีดดาวนะครับของทิมมี่เองก็ไคบะเป็นนินจาเหมือนกันนะครับแล้วก็ใช้บีดดาวเหมือนกันเลยนะครับเด็กเหมือนกันส่วนตัวละครที่2นะครับที่ทัชพับใช้นะครับคือไมที่ทัชพับใช้เนี่ยเป็นเด็กตูนนะครับเป็นเด็กตูนที่ใช้สกิลรีสตาร์ทนะครับทิมมี่เองเล่นเปกาซัสแต่ก็ใช้เด็กตูนเหมือนกันนะครับเป็นเด็กตูนที่ใช้สกิลรีสตาร์ทเหมือนกันพูดง่ายๆว่าเหมือนกันเลยนะครับตัวละครที่3อันสือนี้ไม่ต้องสืบนะครับเล่นเด็กเผากองเหมือนกันเด้นะครับสรุปว่าทั้ง3ตัวละครเนี่ยเด็กเหมือนกันหมดเลยตอนนี้จะต้องวัดกันที่ว่าจะเอาเด็กอะไรมาชนกันนะครับแต่ละคนจะเอาเด็กอะไรมาชนกันจะเอาตูนชนตูนไหมนินจาชนนินจาหรือเปล่านะครับต้องมารอดูตอนการแข่งนะครับค่อนข้างน่าสนใจนะครับคู่ชิงเพราะว่าใช้เด็กเหมือนกันเด้เลยนะครับใช้เด็กเหมือนกันเด้เลยคงต้องวัดกันที่มือเริ่มนะว่าจั่วมาตอนแรกจะได้อะไรนะครับแล้วก็ใช้เด็กอะไรมาชนกันแต่คาดว่าน่าจะเอาเด็กเดียวกันมาชนกันนะครับรอดูกันก่อนเนาะโอเคครับเริ่มกันแล้วนะครับ
So my name is Dijam. I am from Sweden. I'm 21 years old, and my in-game name is Tatpa. I think my strength in the games or in the game rather, would probably be that I adapt to the meta very quickly and to changes. For example, before I came to Japan, I had never even heard or played of the ninja deck that I'm using now. So I think I catch on pretty quickly on the game.
I'm Timmy Chu. I'm 25 years old and from New Zealand. I played the TCG for a very long time since started at Kaiba. So I think experience. I want to win all my games and really bring it home, bring it to New Zealand.
ワールドチャンピオンシップ2017 in ジャパン、大変お待たせいたしました。まもなく熱きデュエリストたちの戦いの幕が切って落とされようとしています。皆さん準備はいいですか？皆さん準備はいいですか？それではまずは皆さんのウォーミングアップからスタートしましょう。応援タイムスタート。
Just to keep the flavor alive, right?
Yes. Whereas Tut Pup, I believe, is using My Valentine to pilot that same Dune deck.
So actually, looking at these deck lists, you were saying earlier that they're pretty much card for card the same decks, right?
Yes. The exceptions being the extra decks, which are actually not relevant.
They pretty much they even bluff with mostly the same extra deck cards, actually.
Yeah, we see a Deep Sea Shark in the Tut Pup's extra deck. We don't see in, I'm sorry, we don't see in Timmy's extra deck.
Yeah, well, as we said, the extra decks are irrelevant, yes. And these guys, to come to the same conclusions on the format and then get this far without the Red Ice deck, which we discussed earlier this weekend, is potentially being the deck of the weekend, has not made it into any of the final lists.
Yes, and some duelists actually piloted 2 Red Ice decks in their 3 decks of choice.
That's how strong it was, and
yes.
It's not here.
Yes, using 2 different skills. So it was a powerful deck, and we saw a lot of diversity. So that's one of the things that makes Duel Links so interesting. There are so many different decks that you can pilot. In fact, in the way the format is designed, you must pilot 3 decks.
Yeah, and then you've got to turn the decks down when you win with them. So we're going to see a best of 3 with 3 different characters for each of these players.
โอเคครับการดูเอลเริ่มขึ้นแล้ว
and feel the energy in this room right now. It's crazy.
It really is.
มาดูว่าแมตช์แรกจะใช้ตัวละครอะไรกันนะฮะโอ้ตูนเด็กครับตูนทั้งคู่นะครับ
Okay, this
เป็นเด็กตูนทั้งคู่นะครับผม
whoever gets to the Toon Kingdom first, right?
Well, certainly because neither player can do anything without Toon Kingdom. It is very likely.
โอเคเปกัสซัสใช้รีสตาร์ทก่อนนะครับ
Get Toon Kingdom. You can see Timmy has started with it after using the restart ability.
มาดูว่าไมค์จะรีสตาร์ทหรือเปล่านะครับ
He's out for the full double attack Toon Dark Magician combo.
That's insane. He might actually win this on his first.
โอเคทัชพับรีสตาร์ทเหมือนกันนะครับ
Interaction, however, is that so My Valentine piloted by Tut Pup is also.
โอ้ทัชพับท่าจะแย่แล้วครับไม่มีตูนคิงดอมครับผม
That's good. However, I think Sphere Kuribo targets.
โอเคทิมมี่เริ่มด้วยการส่งตูนคิงดอมลงสนามครับเป็นการ์ดฟิลนะครับผมจะทำการรีมูฟการ์ดบนกอง3ใบนะครับ
That's correct. It's also interesting because
โอเคแล้วครับแล้วก็สเปเชียลซัมมอนตูนเมจิกเกอร์ครับ
So we may see an interesting interaction there if both players do control a tune.
You know, I don't think it's ever come up in the TCG where you've gone, okay, I attack.
โอเคเทิร์นของทัชพับครับจะทำยังไงครับเนี่ยเรียกตูนคิงดอมไม่ได้ครับ
4-star, not 4-star, I believe. Skullmark Ladybug, which gains 1,000 life points when sent to the graveyard, is summoned to the field, bringing Timmy up to 5,000 after it's tributed for Toon Dark Magician Girl.
เอาละครับใช้ตูนโลแบ็กครับผมตูนโลแบ็กทำให้สามารถโจมตีได้2ครั้งครับ
Toon Dark Magician Girl attacks once.
แอคแท็กครั้งแรกครับโจมตีครั้งแรกครับทัชพับจะใช้อะไรครับในมือมีสเฟียร์โบ2ใบโอเคใช้สเฟียร์โบไปก่อนนะครับผมตัวโลแบ็กเน่าไปครับโอ้ทัดพับยังจั่วไม่ได้ตูนคิงดอมเลยครับยังไม่สามารถเรียกตูนได้ครับผมตูนเมจิกเกอร์โจมตีครับยอมหรือเปล่าจะยอมหรือเปล่าไม่ยอมครับใช้สเฟียร์โบครับผมโอ้ไม่ดีแล้วครับไม่ดีแล้วสามารถกันได้อีกแค่ครั้งเดียวครับคือตอนนี้หมอบอนุบิสไว้นะสามารถป้องกันได้ครั้งเดียวเท่านั้นตอนนี้ถ้ายังไม่สามารถจั่วใบที่สามารถเรียกตูนคิงดอมได้แล้วก็ทัชพับน่าจะพ่ายแพ้ไปในเกมนี้ครับโอเคเรามาดูใบถัดไปว่าทัชพับจะจั่วได้อะไรนะครับผม โอเคลงตูนเมอร์เมดมาเสริมทัพครับทีบิวนะครับสเปเชียลเรียกตูนเดมอนออกมาครับผมโอเคโจมตีครับสามารถกันได้แค่เทิร์นนี้เทิร์นเดียวเท่านั้นครับอนูบิสครับผมเอาละครับถ้าไม่สามารถจั่วการ์ดที่สามารถเสิร์ชตูนคิงดอมได้ทัดพับจะพ่ายแพ้ไปในเกมแรกครับผมโอ้นี่มันอะไรกันเนี่ยมือเน่ากว่านี้มีอีกไหมโอเคครับทัดพับย้ายพ่ายแพ้ครับยอมแพ้ไปในเกมแรกนะครับโอ้ถือเป็นความผิดพลาดในการใช้รีสตาร์ตตั้งแต่ครั้งแรกนะครับเพราะว่าตอนแรกก็มีพาธไฟเดอร์อยู่แล้วที่สามารถเสิร์ชฟิลตูนคิงดอมได้นะครับแต่ว่าเลือกที่จะรีสตาร์ทเพราะไม่มีตัวตูนตัวใหญ่นะครับในมือมีแค่ตูนเมอร์เมดเมื่อเริ่มเกมครับก็เลยใช้รีสตาร์ทนะครับแต่ว่ารีสตาร์ทแล้วไม่สามารถเรียกการ์ดที่สามารถเสิร์ชตูนคิงดอมได้นะครับทำให้พ่ายแพ้ไปนะครับผมเรามาดูในเกมที่2นะครับทัดพับยังสามารถเลือกใช้ตูนคิงดอมเด็กตูนได้อยู่นะครับแต่ฝั่งของทิมมี่ไม่สามารถใช้เด็กตูนได้แล้วนะครับต้องมาลองดูว่าทัดพับจะยังใช้เด็กตูนอยู่หรือเปล่านะครับทิมมี่ยังเหลือเด็กนินจากับเด็กเบิร์นเด็กนะครับเด็กเอาท์นะครับดูว่าทีมมี่จะเอาอะไรมาสู้นะครับผมถามว่าอะไรจะสู้ได้นะครับคิดว่าเด็กเอานี่จะสู้ได้นะอันสื่อนี่มีโอกาสสู้เด็กตูนได้นะครับแต่ก็ค่อนข้างเสี่ยงเหมือนกันนะครับเพราะว่าต้องเบิร์นเด็กออกให้ไวที่สุดนะครับ
Just waiting for the sign to get started.
Neither duelist needs to shuffle up. That's the magic of Duel Links.
Oh, it's so magical when you see how fast it just goes, and then just shuffles your whole deck for you.
โอเคครับแมตช์ที่2เริ่มขึ้นครับ
Here we go again.
Duel 2 is about to begin. I suspect we are going to see Toons again.
Yeah, Toons versus.
โอเคครับทัชพับยังเลือกใช้เด็กตูนอยู่นะครับส่วนทิมมี่เปลี่ยนไปใช้เด็กนินจานะครับนินจากับตูนจริงๆนินจาน่าจะสู้ยากนะครับเพราะว่าเอฟเฟกต์ของนินจาแต่ละใบไม่สามารถทำอะไรตูนได้นะถ้าตูนสามารถลงได้แล้วเนี่ยไม่มีอะไรสามารถจัดการตูนได้นะโอ้ดูแล้วทัชพับมือจะไม่ดีเลยนะครับไม่มีใบที่สามารถเสิร์ชตูนได้นะครับโอ้ค่อนข้างงานหนักแล้วครับผมโอ้ยจะพ่ายแพ้เพราะว่ามือเน่าอย่างนี้เหรอครับโอเคทิมมี่ลงเลดดากอนมานะครับใช้เอฟเฟกต์ครับรีมูฟนินจาในสถาน1ใบนะครับสามารถเลือกการ์ดที่หมอบไว้แล้วเลือกกลับเข้ากองได้นะครับโอ้เขาเลือกเอาไว้ใบบนสุดของกองครับเลือกเอาไว้ใบบนสุดของกองครับโอ้ลืมไปว่านินจาเล่นอย่างนี้ได้นะครับนำการ์ดที่ไม่จำเป็นนะครับไปไว้บนกองแทนครับทำให้เทิร์นถัดไปที่ทัดพับจะจั่วเนี่ยก็ไม่ได้ใบที่ต้องการครับเพราะว่าจะเป็นใบที่ตัวเองหมอบไว้ครับผมโอ้สุดยอดครับในมือทิมมี่ยังมีเลดดากอนนินจาอีกใบหนึ่งนะครับอ๋อแต่ไม่เรียกครับผมโอ้เรียบร้อยครับโดนโจมตีครับ
Surprising energy.
Yeah,
He
sure.
discards a card.
โอ้
Just, you know what, you can have a super
มือเน่าได้อีกครับ ทัดพับมือเน่ามากๆครับ ไม่สามารถจั่วการ์ดที่เรียกตูนคิงดอมได้เลยครับ โอ้
You do. You didn't draw any cards. You got a
พ่ายแพ้ไปด้วยกวนมือเน่าครับ
Damage
โอ้
now gets the bonus for inflicting over 3,000 with one attack.
โอเคครับ จบอย่างรวดเร็วครับ
Get an extra couple of chests.
ทิมมี่เป็นฝ่ายชนะไปทั้ง 2 เกมนะครับ เป็นแชมป์ World Championship 2017 นะครับ
That was quick.
เป็นครั้งแรกของ World Championship ของเกม Duel Links ด้วยนะครับ คือทิมมี่ครับผม
Congratulations to Timmy.
โอ้โห
I imagine everybody at home is, yeah,
รับรองได้เลยว่า
you know, enjoy the match. You might just
เด็กนินจาจะพังอาจในแรงค์ PVP แน่นอนนะครับ ยินดีกับทิมมี่ด้วยครับ จากประเทศนิวซีแลนด์นะครับ ได้แชมป์ WCS 2017
That's Duel Links.
ของ Duel Links ไปในปีนี้ครับ
to come this far in the tournament and then have the same thing happen to him 2 games in a row.
โอ้
In the first duel, he did have the opportunity.
ดวงก็เป็นหนึ่งในการเล่นการ์ดเกมครับ ทัชพับไม่สามารถเรียกตูนคิงดอมได้เลยในทั้ง 2 เกมครับ
Able to activate Toon
เป็นอะไรที่แย่มากครับสำหรับคนที่เล่นเด็กตูนครับ โอ้โห ยังไงก็ตามครับผ่านไปแล้วครับ เรายินดีกับทิมมี่ครับผม เด็กนินจาแล้วก็เด็กตูนครับ ที่ใช้ชนะมาได้ในวันนี้ครับผม
He got 3 5 draw phases. 1, 2, 3, 4.
โอ้
4 draw phases and it was just
ยิน
2.
ดีกับทิมมี่ครับผม
Okay.
Well, that's the risk with playing that deck.
Good job, Timmy. Good job, man.
Congratulations to Timmy and congratulations to New Zealand.
Yeah, that's just incredible. And that quickly as well. You know, you've probably been stressing out for the last few hours while we've had the break. You watched that incredibly tense. We had that incredibly tense Dragon Duel tournament that just went on and on and on down to the wire. And even at the end, Ryan, you couldn't believe he'd won. He kept trying to give the trophy back. You know? And then Timmy, okay, hold on, I think I got this. Bang, like less than 5 minutes.
Lightning fast.
And he's like, all right,
Lightning
cool.
fast.
See you guys next year.
So, yeah. So that was incredible. But I can guarantee the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading Card Game Finals World Championship will not be nearly as quick. The format's a lot slower. It's a lot more methodical, and the players will need to think a lot more carefully about each of their plays. You will be joining Jerome McHale to commentate on that match, so I will be ducking out, and it has been an honor to commentate in this prestigious tournament.
It's been great having you, man. It's good to work with you, because we rarely get to
Thank
do
you.
this on the international
Yes.
stage, because we cover different regions. But
Yes.
thank you so much for everything. It's
Yes.
that was incredible.
It's been a privilege to commentate with you as well, Matt.
Until next time then, my friend.
Till next time, but stay tuned because the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading Card Game 2017 World Championship Finals will begin shortly.